Hey guys, my name is Dion and I'm a senior illustration major from Ringling. I will be graduating in 6 days and that's why I'm wearing the alumni shirt, and also because this is the only Ringling related shirt that I have, not to make it seem like I'm a student worker for the school. I don't know where to begin, but I feel a little bit awkward talking in front of camera because I don't usually do that. But because I've spent 4 years in the school, I thought I want to share my experience. As I'm reviewing the school, I don't even think I'm reviewing the school. I just want to share my experience. Just keep in mind that most of these are based on my personal experience. I just want you to have more information to make your own judgment. I'm not gonna give you whether like pro or cons. I'm just gonna give you what I experienced. First thing first, I'm an international student. I am from Indonesia, and I found out about Ringling through my teacher when I was studying in Singapore. He actually went to United States for school, and when I enrolled, I asked him which art school should I attend, and I'm not really sure what I want to do with art, so I thought I like animation. It seems like you need people working behind the scene, so I enrolled as a computer animation student. After the first semester, I realized that I'm not the kind of person who likes to be repeating the same image over and over and over again. So instead of staying in computer animation, I decided to switch to illustration, which brings me to the point that there's so many majors in Ringling, and there's business of art and design, computer animation, creative writing, entertainment design, film, fine arts, game art, graphic design, illustration, motion design, photography, virtual reality, and visual studies. The point is that once you're in one major, as long as you're within the group, for example, if you're in computer animation, if you're in illustration, game art, and virtual reality, you're in the same group. You are able to change from one major to another. It's probably harder to get into computer animation if you were an illustration student because you don't have the skill set. For classes, I think I'll try to break it down in terms of my experience, 4 years. Definitely a lot of class, so I'm just going to put it on the screen and you can pause it so you can see what are the classes that I took. And these classes, this syllabus were for me when I enrolled 4 years ago. But if you are enrolling for the year 2019 or 2020, it's going to be a little bit different. But what I want to show is that if you're an illustration major, me being an illustration major student, you'll have a lot of figure drawing, you'll have a lot of painting and figure painting classes. Ringling is big on foundation. They want to make sure that whichever field of work you get into, you know exactly how to draw. Personally, I enjoyed that just because I feel that knowing how to draw really allows me to jump from one profession to another. The liberal arts in Ringling are quite different. They will have you to take math or sciences, but most of them are catered for artists. So for example, the math class that we have is geometry for in design, and if you are interested in costume design, there's costume design class. If you are interested in music and relating illustrations and music, there's also music class. So they're really there to help you broaden your view so that you're not just working within your field, if that makes sense. So the classes that I took were American creativity, history of modern art, and the teacher really exposes me to a lot of artists that later on influenced my style in making illustration. The last thing I want to talk about when it comes to classes is that just because you're in illustration does not mean you cannot take business classes, and just because you're in computer animation does not mean you cannot take any painting classes. So there are some classes from different majors that you can take, but it's not all of them. So you have to talk to your advisor and find out which class you can talk about. There's so many things I want to talk about classes, but if you have any question, just feel free to email me or shoot me a message, and I'll be happy to help explain more about it. I think they're really cool, especially for illustration department. We're really close. A lot of friendliness, a lot of family-like interactions, and I would say that we're one of the more chill, down-to-earth. We're not too worried about no eating in the labs, and the teachers understand that. They have the same vibe, so they're more like our friends in general. A lot of them used to work for the industry, and some of them, actually no, a lot of them are still working for the industry. So I cannot talk about specific teachers one by one because there are just so many of them, and all of them were great. I'm just going to show you next, so you can pause it. You can see who were the teachers that were teaching me. Maybe they're still there when you enroll, maybe they're not, but yeah, you can screenshot and check them out. At least for illustration, I feel that freshman year was the hardest because you have to do figure drawing that you've never done before probably, or some of you might have. You have to do perspective, and perspective is a lot of work. It just took a lot of time, and you have to do 2D design. So all of these core classes, they give you a lot of homeworks. But as time goes, if you're in illustration, I know for computer animation and game arts and motion design, things gets harder too. For illustration, it's more like you're not learning many new software or tools. You're learning new techniques, and you're opening your eyes to different things, different possibilities of using your art. And the struggle to me comes more in terms of how can I be a better version of myself, if that makes sense. It's like, yeah, I'm doing the same thing, I'm drawing. I learned new ways of drawing, I learned new tools to draw, but how am I gonna make all of this mine in order to keep my work me, and I'm not trying to copy someone else? So in terms of workload, I guess it depends between person to person, depending on your style. If you're a simpler person, simpler style, maybe you have less to do, maybe, I don't know, but it really what you mix out of it. Especially for international students, we don't have many scholarship opportunities. I can show you a picture here, how much it costs to attend Ringling, and you can also visit their website, download their student handbook, and you'll see how much everything costs. But they've started to give out more and more scholarship. There's things that's called the President's Scholarship. Basically, if you're the best skill-wise, when you apply for the school, you'll get this scholarship. And then there's Dean Scholarship, there is Endowed Scholarships, Masterpiece Scholarships. And what's cool about Ringling is that if you're a 3rd or 4th year student and you feel that you won't be able to pay for the school, you can apply for what's called Crossing the Finish Line Scholarship, which the school will then help you to pay whatever's left in your bill so that you can graduate from the school. Those are some of the common ones, and there are need-based scholarships like that. There are also merit-based scholarships like Trustee Scholarship, which is given to 1 or 2 best students in each major. There are also competitions around the year, and they will give you scholarships. But the kind of scholarship that Ringling often gives is not the kind that's like, oh, I can just keep asking for money. I feel that you have to work for it. You have to prove that you deserve the scholarship. We don't really have open space for sports, but we have a plaza where people play frisbee and a mini soccer. But for study-wise, we have the Cintiq labs, and basically it's just they are just labs full of Cintiqs. And if you're in animation, you'll have your Windows labs. You'll also have the traditional labs like photography lab, printmaking labs, letterpress, wood workshop, and all of these are free of charge. we have print services that is honestly, they're really cheap and they print really well. I've not found anywhere else that prints as good and as cheap as they are. They do 3D printing as well, and they do laser cut for free. 3D print you have to pay, the normal printing you have to pay, but you can also print at the library if you just want to, or library or any other printer around the school if you just want to give like 1 or 2 simple prints. My favorite facility is definitely the letterpress and the printmaking studio, and just the labs. For illustration, our labs is open 24 hours. You can work there as long as you want. But for the letterpress, for example, if you want to reso print, if you want to letterpress anything, they give you the paper, they give you the ink. You don't have to pay for anything. So some people would use that to create zines or create merchandises, and when there's some kind of expo or con, they will sell those at practically $0 cost. So when you're a freshman, you'll enter the freshman dorm. Because we are building new dorms, right now sadly you'll have to share a room with 3 other people. I would say that the housing is kind of pretty expensive. I'm not sure why it is that expensive, especially for freshman dorm, but you'll have to share it with 3 people or 2 people, and if you're in Goldstein Hall, you'll have to share 1 bathroom between this one room with 3 people and another room with 2 people, so it's going to be a little bit hectic. But once you are a sophomore, junior, and senior, you'll have chances to go into apartment style housing, and there's some really beautiful housing on campus. I live in a house. It's a landed house, so around the campus they bought the houses that used to belong for people. It's not the most gorgeous house, but it's very comfy, it's spacious, a lot of space in the house. If you go into the bayou, it's the biggest housing, I think. And if you go into the bridge, it's the new houses. They have marble countertop. It's just ridiculous. I don't understand. I just feel jealous whenever I see my friends who live there. But you'll have to go through process in order to get into these nicer houses. And if you stay on campus in freshman year, you'll have better chance to get better housing the following year. So if you're curious, download the student handbook and just look at the house's price, and you can determine whether it's worth it or not to live on campus. Career services is probably my most appreciated part of Ringling College. If you go there, they'll give you the step-by-step what you need to be on track of since freshman year to senior year in terms of your career. They'll help you with resume, they'll help you with building your website, your portfolio, they'll give you practice interview, and yeah, those are all the stuff that you can learn online or whatever. But the most tangible thing is that they'll bring in a lot of recruiters. This year alone, I think they brought in 120, starting from like people like Disney, there'll be people like Hallmark, there'll be people like Blizzard. It's just the whole spectrum. Most of the recruiters that they bring in are very animation or graphic design related. I'm not saying that they're bad, because as an illustrator, for example, some of my friends, they apply to Hallmark because they do need illustrators. They apply to Abercrombie and Fitch, they work for them. But if you are thinking about doing editorials, if you're thinking about doing children's book or books, we don't have that many recruiters coming, but we do have a lot of visiting artists, and we do have a lot of teachers with connections who will bring their connections into the school and try to accommodate this niche that the career services is still working on. So, but in general, I got my internship through career services. I built my resume and website, and they all helped me to apply for jobs because of career services. So it's a pretty good service for you. So my last words about Ringling is, it's definitely a place for people who think about their future career, because that's really the emphasis of the education. Also, the philosophy is that almost all of the major focuses on people being generalists instead of specialists. If you ever come here, definitely spend your time at the library. Go to every presentation, go to every recruiter's presentation, try to apply to as many recruiters as possible, and go to career services early. One thing that I wish that could have been improved on, and I think they're working on it, will be connecting more between staff and students, because sometimes the staff, they will make decisions that students will be like, I don't know why they would do that. But also at the same time, students, when they have complaints, they don't really complain, they just talk amongst themselves. Although there are forms that you can fill in, you can report things. If facility gets broken, you can report it. But yeah, I think that's just one thing that I hope people are more proactive about and try to build a connection. But other than that, I'm really glad I came to the school, and don't let me affect your decision. Use what I said objectively and do more research before you come to the school. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.